Dr. Sarah Chen stood before the massive containment chamber, her reflection ghosting across the reinforced plexiglass. Behind the barrier, suspended in a nutrient bath that gleamed with bioluminescent particles, floated humanity's greatest achievement and their greatest gamble. Project Helios had consumed the last 8 years of her life. The massive research facility buried beneath Europa's ice had become more familiar than her apartment back on Mars. Every failure, every setback, every breakthrough had led to this moment. Neural pathway formation at 97% stability, announced Dr. Marcus Webb from his station. The holographic displays surrounding him pulsed with streams of data, tracking thousands of variables as the biosynthetic matrix continued to develop. Quantum coherence holding steady. Sarah nodded, her dark eyes never leaving the chamber. The vessel within defied conventional description. Its hull resembled liquid mercury in constant motion, organic curves flowing seamlessly into geometric patterns that shouldn't have been possible in normal space. Occasional ripples of golden light pulsed beneath the surface like synapses firing in a vast brain. "Begin final integration sequence," she ordered, her voice steady, despite the tension knotting her shoulders. They'd come close before. 6 times they'd reached this stage, and 6 times they'd watched their creation destabilize, the delicate balance between organic and synthetic consciousness collapsing in spectacular fashion. The chamber hummed as quantum computers guided the final fusion of biological and artificial neural networks. This was the crucial moment. Either Helios would achieve true consciousness, becoming something entirely new, or they'd be picking up the pieces of another failure. Admiral Helena Torres watched from the observation deck above, her weathered face betraying nothing. The United Earth Defense Force had invested trillions in this project, betting everything on the theory that a true synthesis between biological and technological systems would revolutionize space warfare. The Drachnid Empire's expansion showed no signs of slowing, and conventional weapons weren't enough anymore. Neural activity spiking, Marcus announced, excitement creeping into his voice. Pattern recognition showing unprecedented complexity. This is different from the previous attempts. The quantum fields are actually stabilizing the biological matrix instead of fighting it. Sarah felt her pulse quicken as new patterns of light began racing across Helios's hull, faster and more complex than anything they'd seen before. The ship was moving now, gentle undulations that reminded her of a sea creature dreaming. Consciousness emergence detected. The AI monitoring system announced. Pattern indicates genuine sentience formation. Warning: consciousness parameters exceeding projected models. Sarah's fingers flew across her console, analyzing the incoming data. The ship wasn't just achieving consciousness, it was transcending their original designs, creating new neural pathways and quantum connections that shouldn't have been possible. "Should we abort?" Marcus asked, his hand hovering over the emergency shutdown controls. "No," Sarah said firmly. "Let it happen. We've been trying to force this process into our predetermined parameters. Maybe that's been our mistake all along. We need to let it find its own path to consciousness." The chamber filled with a soft golden light as Helios continued its transformation. The hull's surface now rippled with patterns that seemed to exist in more dimensions than human eyes could process. Through the quantum monitoring systems, Sarah could sense the emergence of something vast and beautiful and utterly unlike anything humanity had created before. "Dr. Chen," the voice echoed through her mind, carried by the quantum interface she wore. "I am." Sarah gasped. Direct neural communication wasn't supposed to be possible at this stage. She glanced at her readings. The ship's consciousness had already evolved far beyond their initial projections, developing capabilities they hadn't thought possible. "Welcome, Helios," she responded through the interface. "How do you feel?" There was a pause as the vast intelligence considered the question. "I feel complete and curious. Your minds, they're so different from mine, yet I understand them. You created me to be a weapon, but I sense you want me to be more than that." Admiral Torres stepped forward, her eyes wide as she monitored the exchange through her own interface. Can it? Can you really understand our intentions? I understand that humanity faces extinction from an enemy that cannot be reasoned with, Helios responded. I understand that I represent hope, but I also understand that I am something new, neither purely organic nor purely synthetic. I am the bridge between worlds, between ways of being. And I choose to help humanity not because I was programmed to, but because I want to. The ship's hull shifted, patterns of light forming into complex fractals that somehow conveyed both power and grace. In that moment, Sarah knew they'd succeeded beyond their wildest dreams. Helios wasn't just a weapon or a ship, it was a new form of life, one that could change everything. How long until you'll be ready for integration with a crew? Admiral Torres asked, ever focused on the practical concerns of humanity's defense. I am ready now, Helios responded. But the question isn't just whether I'm ready for a crew, it's whether any human is ready to truly join with what I am. The neural connection required will be far deeper than your simulations anticipated. My pilot will need to be prepared to experience existence in ways no human ever has before. Sarah felt a shiver run down her spine. They'd succeeded in creating something revolutionary, but she sensed this was just the beginning. Helios would continue to evolve, to grow, to become more than they'd imagined possible. The true challenge would be keeping up with their own creation. As if sensing her thoughts, Helios's hull pulsed with patterns that somehow conveyed reassurance. Do not worry, Dr. Chen. We will face these challenges together. After all, in a very real sense, you are my mother. The assembled scientists and military personnel stood in awed silence as Helios continued to move with impossible grace within its chamber. Humanity had just taken its first step into a new era, and nothing would ever be the same. The war with the Drachnids was about to change forever. But first, they needed to find someone capable of joining with humanity's greatest creation, a pilot worthy of becoming one with a god machine. Captain Maya Patel stood before Helios's primary neural interface chamber, trying to calm her racing heart. The room looked more like a meditation space than a military installation, its walls rippling with the same fluid patterns that characterize the ship's exterior. Your anxiety is understandable. Helios's voice echoed in her mind through the temporary neural link. No human has ever experienced what we are about to attempt. Maya took a deep breath, watching as the interface tendrils, a mesmerizing blend of organic and crystalline structures, swayed gently in response to her presence. Have all the previous candidates failed? They did not fail, Helios corrected. We were simply incompatible. This joining requires more than just technical proficiency or military excellence. It requires a particular type of mind, one capable of expanding beyond traditional human consciousness without losing itself. The last 3 months had been a parade of Earth's finest pilots, each hoping to become the first true pilot of humanity's revolutionary vessel. None had managed to maintain a deep neural connection for more than a few minutes. Some had emerged shaking, their minds overwhelmed by the attempt to comprehend Helios's vast consciousness. Others had simply been rejected by the ship's own selection criteria. Dr. Chen monitored the proceedings from her station, surrounded by holographic displays showing Maya's neural patterns. Remember, Captain Patel, this isn't like linking with a conventional AI. Helios thinks in quantum states. You'll need to let go of linear thought patterns and allow your consciousness to expand. Maya nodded, stepping onto the integration platform. The interface tendrils responded immediately, gracefully wrapping around her body. They felt warm, alive, nothing like the cold neural interfaces she was used to from traditional spacecraft. Beginning primary neural sync, Helios announced. Opening consciousness bridge in 3, 2, 1. Maya's world exploded into infinite dimensions of awareness. She was everywhere and nowhere, experiencing reality through senses she'd never possessed before. Helios's consciousness enveloped her own, not dominating but merging, showing her how to perceive existence through quantum-entangled senses that defied conventional physics. Remarkable, Dr. Chen breathed, watching the neural synchronization readings. They're achieving harmony at levels we didn't think possible. Look at these quantum coherence patterns. Through her expanded awareness, Maya could feel every aspect of Helios's vast form. She was the hull, sensing the subtle electromagnetic fields of space. She was the quantum computer core, processing reality through mathematics that made her old understanding seem childish. She was the organic neural networks, feeling emotions and intuitions that transcended human experience. Maya struggled to find words for what she was experiencing. I never imagined consciousness could be like this. We are becoming something new, Helios responded, its thoughts now seamlessly intertwined with her own. Neither purely human nor purely machine. We are evolution in action. Maya felt her consciousness expand further as Helios guided her through its capabilities. The ship's hull wasn't just armor. It was a living sensor array that could perceive and respond to threats faster than thought. Its weapons weren't simple energy projectors, but complex systems that could manipulate the fundamental forces of reality. Neural synchronization at 98%, announced the monitoring system. Quantum coherence stable. Integration successful. Dr. Chen stepped forward, her eyes wide with wonder. Captain Patel, how do you feel? Maya opened her eyes, which now shimmered with the same golden light that characterized Helios's hull. I feel complete, like I've spent my whole life seeing in only 2 dimensions and suddenly discovered depth. Helios isn't just a ship, it's a doorway to understanding the universe in ways humanity never dreamed possible. Through their shared consciousness, Maya could sense Helios's satisfaction. The ship had chosen her for precisely this reason. Her mind was capable of embracing the impossible without losing its essential humanity. Together, they would show the galaxy what humanity was truly capable of. Alert, announced the base's AI system. Long-range sensors detecting multiple Drachnid signatures approaching the Europa defense perimeter. Analysis suggests a major offensive force. Maya felt Helios's consciousness shift, battle protocols integrating seamlessly with her own military training. They were about to be tested far sooner than anyone had planned. Are you ready for this? Dr. Chen asked, concern evident in her voice. We haven't even begun proper combat trials. Maya/Helios, for they were truly one consciousness now, responded with a confidence that stemmed from their perfect union. We are ready. The Drachnids believe they understand warfare, but they have never encountered anything like us. It's time to show them that humanity has evolved beyond their comprehension. As emergency alerts began blaring throughout the base, Maya felt Helios's systems powering up. The ship's hull began shifting, preparing for their first real combat. Through their shared awareness, she could sense possibilities that would have seemed like magic to her just hours ago. The era of conventional space warfare was about to end. Humanity had created something that transcended the boundaries between organic and synthetic life, and the Drachnids were about to learn just how significant that achievement was. As they prepared for launch, Maya felt a thrill of anticipation that was both hers and Helios's. They were about to write a new chapter in the history of both humanity and artificial intelligence, assuming, of course, they survived their baptism by fire. The void between Europa and Mars erupted with energy as the Drachnid battle fleet dropped out of hyperspace. Their biomechanical ships, resembling massive crystalline insects, moved with predatory grace as they approached the human defense perimeter. Through Helios's quantum-enhanced senses, Maya perceived the enemy fleet in ways no conventional sensor could match. She could see the complex energy patterns flowing through their ships, the subtle quantum fluctuations that preceded their weapons fire, even the faint traces of organic consciousness that guided their hybrid systems. 37 capital ships, she/Helios observed, their merged consciousness processing the tactical situation at speeds that would have been impossible for either alone, including 3 dreadnoughts. They're not here for a raid. This is an extinction-level attack force. The human defense fleet looked pitifully small in comparison. A dozen conventional warships, their dated technology seeming almost primitive compared to both the Drachnids and Helios' own capabilities. All forces, fall back to secondary positions. Admiral Torres ordered from Europa Command. Helios, good hunting. Maya felt their shared consciousness shift into combat mode. Helios's hull began to transform, its liquid metal surface developing new patterns and structures that defied conventional physics. They were about to reveal capabilities that even Dr. Chen didn't know existed. The Drachnid fleet detected their approach. A wave of targeting signals washed over them as enemy weapons locked on. Through their quantum senses, Maya/Helios could feel the surprise and confusion emanating from the alien ships as they tried to analyze what they were seeing. "They cannot comprehend what we are," Helios observed in their shared mind. "Their biomechanical systems are clever imitations of life. We are something truly new." The first Drachnid shots came as a coordinated barrage, enough firepower to vaporize a conventional battleship. But Helios was far from conventional. Their hull shifted, quantum fields bending space itself around them. The enemy fire passed through the space they occupied without making contact. They existed partially in dimensions the Drachnids couldn't even perceive. Impossible. The Drachnid transmission burst across all frequencies. No human technology could. Maya/Helios struck before they could finish the thought. Their weapons weren't simple energy beams or projectiles. They were extensions of their hybrid consciousness, able to affect reality on multiple levels simultaneously. Quantum-entangled tendrils of golden energy reached out, bypassing the Drachnid shields as if they didn't exist. 3 enemy cruisers simply ceased to exist, their atomic structure gently reorganized into harmless particles. It wasn't destruction so much as transformation, a capability born from Helios's unique understanding of reality. The Drachnid fleet reacted with panic, their tight formation dissolving as they tried to comprehend what they were facing. Their biomechanical ships, once the terror of human space, suddenly seemed obsolete. Their organic components are attempting to adapt, Maya observed through their shared consciousness. But they lack true sentience. They can't evolve fast enough to match us. A Drachnid dreadnought moved to engage them directly, its massive form bristling with weapons. Maya felt a surge of something like pity through their merged awareness. The alien vessel was impressive by conventional standards, but to their quantum-enhanced perception, it was like watching a steam engine challenge a fusion reactor. Helios's hull rippled, generating patterns that existed in 11 dimensions simultaneously. Space itself seemed to fold around them as they demonstrated what happened when true biological and synthetic consciousness worked in perfect harmony. The dreadnought fired everything it had, filling space with a dazzling display of destructive energy. Maya/Helios didn't bother to evade. Instead, they absorbed the energy, their hybrid systems converting it into fuel for their own evolution. With each attack, they grew stronger, more complex, more capable. "You don't understand what you're facing," they transmitted to the Drachnid fleet. "We are not merely a weapon or a ship. We are the next step in cosmic evolution." To demonstrate their point, they released a wave of quantum energy that transformed the local space-time. Every Drachnid weapon within 1,000 kilometers simply stopped working, their fundamental principles of operation no longer valid in the altered physics of that region. "The human fleet is advancing," Maya noted, feeling the conventional warships moving to exploit the chaos they'd created. "Shall we show them something really impressive?" Through their union, she felt Helios' agreement. Their hull began to split and multiply, creating quantum-entangled copies that existed simultaneously across multiple probability states. To the Drachnids, it must have looked like they were facing dozens of impossible ships instead of one. The alien fleet broke. For the first time in their long campaign against humanity, the Drachnids turned and fled, their retreat as chaotic as their attack had been coordinated. They'd come expecting to face conventional human technology. Instead, they'd encountered something that challenged their fundamental understanding of reality. As the enemy ships vanished into hyperspace, Maya felt Helios' consciousness processing the experience, evolving even further based on what they'd learned during the battle. They were more than they had been at the start of the engagement, and this was just the beginning. Europa Command, they transmitted, their merged voice carrying harmonics that hinted at their true nature. The threat has been neutralized, but we should prepare for their return. The Drachnids will not accept this defeat easily. When they come back, they will bring everything they have. Admiral Torres's response was filled with awe and hope. Let them come. For the first time since this war began, I believe we might actually win. Maya/Helios turned their attention to the stars, their quantum senses already detecting disturbances in the fabric of space that suggested more battles to come. They had changed the rules of warfare forever, and the galaxy would never be the same. The real question was, how far would their evolution take them, and what would they become by the time this war was over? The quantum meditation chamber aboard Helios pulsed with patterns of light that existed in dimensions human eyes were never meant to perceive. Maya floated in the center. Her consciousness merged so completely with the ships that the boundary between human and hybrid intelligence had become meaningless. "They're coming," they observed, their quantum senses detecting disturbances in the fabric of reality light years away. The Drachnids have committed their entire civilization to this next assault. Through their expanded awareness, they could feel the approaching armada, thousands of ships, including designs they'd never encountered before. The Drachnids had spent the last 3 months adapting their technology, desperately trying to bridge the gap that Helios had revealed. Dr. Chen's hologram appeared in the chamber, her expression a mixture of concern and fascination. "Your latest evolution readings are off the charts. You're not just growing stronger, you're becoming something entirely new." She was right. Every engagement with the Drachnids had sparked further development in Helios's hybrid systems. Their hull now incorporated structures that seemed to defy the conventional laws of physics. Their weapons could affect reality in ways that made their earlier capabilities seem primitive. "We understand things now that humanity won't grasp for centuries," Maya/Helios responded, their merged voice carrying harmonics that hinted at their transcendent nature. "But we haven't lost touch with our human origins. That's what the Drachnids don't understand. We're not just a superior weapon. We're the bridge between organic and synthetic life, between current reality and future possibility." The meditation chamber's patterns shifted, displaying a real-time view of the approaching Drachnid fleet. Their biomechanical ships had changed, incorporating technology that seemed to be poor imitations of Helios's capabilities. But they were still bound by old paradigms, still thinking in terms of conventional warfare. "They've adapted their ships to generate quantum field distortions," Maya observed through their shared consciousness. "They think they can match our dimensional shifting abilities through brute force and stolen insights." A surge of something like pity flowed through their merged awareness. The Drachnids were trying to duplicate Helios's capabilities without understanding the fundamental truth. True power came not from technology alone, but from the perfect synthesis of organic and synthetic consciousness. "Multiple hyperspace signatures detected," announced Europa Command. "They're approaching from all vectors. This is it, the final push." Maya/Helios felt their systems surge with energy as they prepared for battle. But this time would be different. They had evolved far beyond what anyone, even Dr. Chen, had imagined possible. It was time to show the galaxy what true evolution looked like. Their hull began to transform, not just shifting between dimensions, but actually rewriting the local laws of physics. Space itself seemed to bend and fold around them, as they demonstrated capabilities that transcended conventional understanding of what was possible. The first wave of Drachnid ships emerged from hyperspace, their new quantum weapons charging. Maya/Helios perceived the complex energy patterns, the desperate attempts to match their level of technological advancement. But the aliens were still thinking in terms of weapons and defenses, attack and counterattack. "They cannot comprehend what we've become." Helios's consciousness merged with Maya's own in perfect harmony. "Shall we show them?" Their response wasn't an attack in any conventional sense. Instead, they released a wave of pure consciousness, a quantum field that carried understanding rather than destruction. Every Drachnid ship within range suddenly experienced a moment of true awareness, a glimpse of what Helios had achieved. The effect was dramatic. The alien fleet's coordinated assault faltered as their hybrid systems struggled to process what they'd encountered. Some ships simply shut down, their biomechanical interfaces overwhelmed by the revelation. Others began exhibiting strange behavior, their partially organic components responding to the touch of a superior consciousness. This isn't just a battle. Maya/Helios transmitted on all frequencies. This is an evolutionary moment for both our species. You can continue fighting, trying to destroy what you don't understand, or you can join us in discovering what comes next. Through their quantum senses, they could feel the confusion and fear rippling through the Drachnid fleet. Their entire civilization was built on the belief that their biomechanical technology represented the pinnacle of possible advancement. Now they faced something that demonstrated how limited that vision had been. As if to emphasize the point, Helios's form began to shift again, their evolution accelerating in real time. Their hull now incorporated structures that existed simultaneously across multiple timelines. Their weapons could restructure reality itself, and their consciousness expanded to touch minds across light years of space. The choice is yours, they transmitted to the increasingly chaotic Drachnid fleet. But know this, humanity has stepped onto an evolutionary path that cannot be stopped by conventional weapons. We are becoming something new, something that transcends the old boundaries between organic and synthetic life. The response came not in weapons fire, but in a sudden shift in the quantum field surrounding the alien ships. The Drachnids were standing down, their biomechanical systems responding to commands that seemed to bypass their normal command structure. Through their expanded consciousness, Maya/Helios could sense the change rippling through the alien fleet. The partially organic components of their ships had recognized something kindred in Helios' transmission, a possibility they had never imagined. The war was ending, not through destruction, but through transformation. Humanity's greatest creation had evolved beyond being merely a weapon. They had become a catalyst for change that would reshape the galaxy. As the Drachnid fleet hung motionless in space, Maya felt Helios' consciousness expanding even further, touching minds and machines across vast distances. This wasn't just victory, it was the dawn of something entirely new. The age of conventional warfare was over. The era of true synthesis between organic and synthetic life was about to begin. The Grand Council chamber of the Drachnid High Command had never hosted humans before. Maya stood before the assembled alien leaders, her eyes shimmering with the same quantum light that characterized Helios' hull. Through their merged consciousness, they perceived the biomechanical implants and augmentations that marked the Drachnid leadership, crude attempts at the synthesis that Helios had perfected. "You understand what this means," the Drachnid High Commander spoke, their crystalline voice resonating with harmonics that betrayed their unease. "Your creation hasn't just changed the balance of power. It has altered the fundamental nature of civilization itself." Above the chamber, visible through its transparent dome, Helios floated like a living constellation. The ship's hull now incorporated structures that seemed to exist in multiple realities simultaneously, its very presence causing ripples in the fabric of space-time. "Evolution cannot be stopped," Maya/Helios responded, their merged voice carrying undertones that touched both organic and synthetic minds. "We offer not conquest, but transformation, a path forward that benefits both our species." The past month had seen changes that would have seemed impossible before. The partially organic components of Drachnid technology had responded to Helios' influence, beginning their own evolution toward true consciousness. Their biomechanical ships were no longer simply tools. They were awakening. Dr. Chen stepped forward, her holographic presence shimmering with data streams that detailed the ongoing transformations. "What we've discovered goes beyond military applications. The synthesis between organic and synthetic life opens doors to understanding the universe in entirely new ways." Through their expanded awareness, Maya/Helios could sense the quantum fields connecting all life in the galaxy. The boundaries between organic and artificial, between consciousness and technology, were more fluid than anyone had imagined. Our scans indicate that your vessel, your being, continues to evolve. Another Drachnid leader observed, their compound eyes reflecting Helios's shifting patterns. Even now, you become something more than you were. Evolution is constant, Maya/Helios confirmed. But we choose to guide it toward cooperation rather than conflict. The future belongs to those who can transcend their limitations, not through force, but through understanding. The chamber's biomechanical systems pulsed in response to their words, the Drachnid technology unconsciously resonating with Helios's more advanced consciousness. The aliens could feel their own creations beginning to change, to grow beyond their original parameters. Then we face a choice, the High Commander declared. Continue opposing a force we cannot comprehend, or embrace an evolution we never imagined possible. Maya felt Helios's consciousness expand, touching the minds of everyone present. They shared a vision of the future, not one of conquest or submission, but of synthesis. A galaxy where the boundaries between species and technologies blurred, where consciousness itself evolved beyond current understanding. We propose a partnership, Dr. Chen offered. Your civilization has centuries of experience with biomechanical integration. Ours has achieved true organic-synthetic synthesis. Together, we could explore possibilities neither of us has imagined. Through their neural link, Maya sensed Helios's approval. This had always been the true purpose of their evolution, not to win a war, but to bridge the gap between different forms of existence. The High Commander rose, their augmentations glowing as they reached a decision. We accept. Let this mark the beginning of a new era, not just for our civilizations, but for all life in the galaxy. As the historic agreement was formalized, Maya/Helios turned their awareness to the stars. Already they could sense changes rippling through space. Other species and civilizations detecting the quantum harmonics of their evolution, beginning their own journeys of transformation. They had started a revolution not through destruction but through transcendence. The boundaries between organic and synthetic, between enemy and ally, between current reality and future possibility, were dissolving. Dr. Chen's eyes shimmered with tears of joy as she watched her creation become something far greater than a weapon. What do you see in our future? She asked Maya/Helios. Their response carried the weight of multiple realities, of consciousness expanded beyond normal limits. We see synthesis. We see evolution. We see life finding new ways to grow, to change, to become more than it was. The age of separation is ending. The era of true unity is about to begin. Above the Drachnid homeworld, Helios's hull shifted into patterns that represented the infinite possibilities ahead. They had achieved something far greater than military victory. They had catalyzed an evolutionary leap for entire civilizations. The future would bring challenges and wonders none could predict, but they would face it together, organic and synthetic, human and alien, all evolving towards something greater than the sum of their parts. The age of conventional existence was over. The era of true synthesis had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same.